Hi, my name is Marley Fields. I'm an occupational therapist at the Medical Center of Central Georgia, and we're going to demonstrate moving a baby into supine using 2 Zackies. Whenever you move a baby, as much as possible, try to move that baby by facilitating flexion during the move. It's a little bit more calm. It might help a baby to maintain physiological and motoric stability. In supine, if you can, you want to look from the head all the way down and see if you can get the head in midline, the hands and arms in midline, and the feet. And you should be looking for good flexion as well. Let me see if I can make her happy. I'm going to use the Zackies to help contain her and give her that midline orientation. We're going to keep her shoulder a little bit forward. Make sure we're not tangled here. For arms, you want to see those shoulders coming forward so that she has the ability to bring her hands to mouth. She's going to show us by pulling her tube. And you also want to see if you can keep hips towards midline without too much abduction. As much towards neutral. And we'll kind of use the ends of this to help her so she has something to brace up against. Okay. We'll just add that at the top for more containment, so she's got as much as we can give her. I don't know if she's going to pull that too. Okay. For a baby who's taller, you might need to, or longer, you might need to have a longer cloth up here. But work towards having the hand part of the Zackies down at the feet, and you can keep the weight in them and then use them to keep the feet down as you need to. Okay, this baby we're going to move into right sideline. One of the things that babies tend to do is they tend to try to get stability by pushing it against the surface. So it's really important to help them get that flexion and bring their arms and legs to midline. So when we move them, if we can keep them flexed, that's always best. And we're going to slow down because she's arching, so she's showing us some motoric stress. We're going to let her recover for a second. Now the Zackies are going to be really helpful to help us contain her and let her feel some of that pressure against her. We're looking for a little bit of chin tuck, not much, of course, because we don't want to occlude the airway. We're looking for a little bit of rounding here, tucked trunk. We're looking for flexion in the knees and hips, and hands together near face so that she can try to self-regulate. Some babies like to grasp the fingers of the Zaki, so I'm going to have that nearby, and I'm going to thin it out right here and let a little go between her legs. We don't want her legs to abduct at the hips, but we just want them to not be too close together, not too much adduction. So having something thin between them is helpful. And she's looking good. She's nice and contained and flexed. We're going to be demonstrating today positioning infants using the Zakis in order to achieve good flexor tone and help them with their development. So this baby we're going to position in supine. You can see right now she's extended. She's a little bit asymmetrical. We're going to try and help her so that she is more symmetrical and that she has nice even flexor tone. That'll be important for her development. Again, whenever we position babies, if we can help them by facilitating flexion during the repositioning, that is the calmest and most organized way for them to be moved. If we can move slowly and gently and move at their speed, that's optimal to try and help them maintain their stability. Now this baby is pretty good at maintaining flexion as long as she's got something to brace against, but you can see that it's hard for her to keep her arms forward due to hypotonia, which is normal for preemie. So what we're going to do is use these Zakis to help her with that. Placing it on the side of her, a little bit under her shoulder. Oops, let me flip it around. Maintaining that flexion. We're going to do the other side. Same thing. And looking head to foot, one of the other things we want to see if we can get is her head in midline as much as possible. So we're going to put a little of this under her shoulder, but also up next to her head. Let's see if we can get her. She should be able to bring her hands to her face, to her mouth, for self-regulation and self-calming. This little one, we're going to work to get him into prone. And again, when we move him, we want to see if we can help him with flexion as much as possible. When a baby is prone, we want them to be on a raised surface from the umbilicus to the top of the head. You can either use a gel pad for the top half and a rolled washcloth or a covered washcloth for the chest area. But for this project, we're just going to use one big rolled pad. We're going to place it here, help him get into flexion, and lift him over onto it. We want to make sure that he's in good flexion with his hips and his knees. We want him to have midline orientation as much as possible. We're going to give him just a minute to adapt to this new position that he's in. And I'm helping him by giving him a little bit of deep pressure at his hips, because he's a baby who likes to extend, and he has a lot of extensor tone. As you can tell, he can lift himself up. So we're going to help facilitate his flexion right now while he adapts to being in this position. If you have a baby who likes to extend, using non-nutritive sucking with the pacifier actually helps facilitate flexion. It increases flexor tone, so that's one thing. Not only does it calm, but it helps him to stop the extension that's going on. Now we're also going to use these two Zackies. We're going to unweight the center of it and have it right over here, over the scapula. Okay, again, the part that's over him has very little beads in it, so the majority of the weight is on the sides. And we have a second one that we're going to use here. Now he happens to have a snuggly under this blanket. If the baby does not have a snuggly, you can actually use this down below to provide their containment, like this. For the research project, this is how we'll be doing it. With an unweighted Zackie over the scapula with the weighted sides next to the baby, helping them maintain their arms at their sides and near the mouth. And then the bottom one will be helping them to maintain flexion down below. If another way to do it is like this, if a baby is in a snuggly. But for the research, we'll be doing it like this. Okay? Okay, so we're going to review real quick, just so that you can see it on a doll, and we don't have any of the extra movements or anything to deal with. To move the baby into sideline, we want to keep them and bring them into flexion as much as possible and slowly roll them into sideline. We're going to be using the two Zackies just like we will for the research project. We help provide posterior containment with one Zackie, keeping the baby in flexion with arms and legs towards midline, head towards midline. Second Zackie, helping contain the baby. We can use a little bit of the fabric to help separate the legs, just a small amount. We don't want to abduct. Just keep those knees so that they're not hitting each other. And then if you put the fingers up towards the face, the baby can grasp them if they are able to. So that's sideline with two Zackies. Now we'll move the baby into prone. And again, we want to use a ventral roll. So from where the baby started in sideline, we're going to keep them flexed, nice and flexed, to help them just gently roll onto tummy. The ventral roll should go approximately from the umbilicus to the top of the head. When you prone a baby, you'll want to alternate so the head is to the left, and then the next time you prone, the head is to the right. Using the two Zackies, we're going to unweight the center of the Zackie and have that over the baby's scapula and help them maintain that nice flexion with the hands towards the mouth this way. And the second Zackie, again, with a real baby, they might be able to keep that flexion better, but we will use the second Zackie to help maintain that. We're looking for knees towards midline, again, and flexion of the hips and knees to approximately 90 degrees. There we go, inside lying. And now we'll move the baby into supine, and we'll show using two Zackies to help nest the baby in a supine posture. So we will just collect that baby in as much flexion as possible and slowly rotate them into supine, maintaining flexion as much as possible. We want to keep that head in midline. Most of our babies have a hard time doing that, so we're going to use the side of the Zackie to help position them. A small amount of the Zackie can go under the scapula to help keep that arm forward so that they can bring hands to mouth. And the fingers of the Zackie can help provide a little bit of proprioceptive input to their feet and keep them in good flexion down below. And we'll do the same to this side. And make sure you've got a small amount under that scapula too. There we go.